Ladies and gentlemen, our next session focuses on the evolving opportunities within the bioproduct ecosystem. The session is titled Bioproducts Pivot. I take the opportunity to invite our moderator and all our esteemed panelists. Let's please welcome on stage Mr. Vishwa Mohan, our moderator for this session. A round of applause, please, for the entire panel. A warm welcome to you. And now inviting our panelists on stage. Let's begin with Borges. Next, I would like to welcome Stefan Barot. A round of applause, please. Rajesh Mohan. And Francesco Montecchio. Our title, Bioproducts Pivot, and with this I hand over to our moderator, Mr. Vishwa Mohan.
Thank you so much. It's going to be a very powerful, insightful, or knowledge session. Even I don't know about many bioproducts. Today I'm also going to learn many more things from all of you. And our powerful panelists would guide you and navigate you through this. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for taking your time out for this event. And you all have flown in from different parts of the world and India as well. Thank you so much, sir. I would like to start with Mr. Stefan Barot, because PLA, nowadays, there's so much buzz in this conference room about the PLA. What is PLA and why Balrampur Chini have done such a massive investment in PLA? And what would be the result of that?
So, first of all, thank you for having me here and for the introduction. When we look at the bigger picture, we can, in the long term, decarbonize energy production, which means we can go to we can go to solar power, we can go to wind power. This is all possible, but we cannot take the carbon out of our materials. And PLA is the first step in this direction. So basically what we do is we take sugar, ferment it to lactic acid. That's an incredibly efficient process because you cut basically the sugar molecule into half. Then we have lactic acid, and this lactic acid, we first take the water out, then you get a lactic acid dimer, and then you basically polymerize it to PLA. What you get is, you get a bio-based polymer, a bio-based plastic, which is then industrially compostable. And that's one of the loops of circularity. If we as mankind want to survive on planet Earth, we have to be more circular in the future, and it's everywhere, and that's one option to make plastics more circular. Yeah? And it's the target applications are single-use plastics, which are very difficult to be retrieved.
But the kind of demand we have in the country, do you think that 80,000 ton would be enough?
I have no question that if India is blessed with one thing, it's biomass. Yeah? And there is enough biomass in India to actually build the bio-based society. When we look at that, we now start with 80,000 tons, which is a lot when you think about it, but it's very little when you look at the growth of plastics which will happen in India. India is still at 18-20 kilogram of plastic per year. When we look at China and Europe, then we are at 3-4 times more. So when we look there we are at 60-65 kilogram plastic per person per year, and China is the US is over 100. So in India there's a lot of growth, and we can scale this in the future. So we start now with 80,000 tons because this is the norm. This is what the global standard. Our global competitors have the same. We are the first one in India. But later on we can build this bigger. It's scalable.
Okay. You must have researched something, because being a company, if you are doing such kind of investment, then what are the biggest hurdles, barriers you are seeing in this market in PLA? Cost-wise or adoption of this new product?
I think the biggest hurdle is with 80,000 tons, you cannot really compete with 900,000 tons polyolefin plant. So initially, your product is more expensive. And the biggest hurdle is actually enforcement of the law. In India, India has wonderful laws, but they're not always enforced as they should be enforced. There is a single-use plastic law which says that sticks, for example, straw sticks, should be made compostable. Well, you find them everywhere not compostable. There is a law, single-use plastic again, which says all cutlery should be made compostable. You find a lot of non-compostable. If that would be enforced, no problem.
Let's see what will happen in future. Mr. Francesco, what kind of investment you are seeing in global market, and which bioproducts are attracting more investment?
Are you referring to what markets we are looking at?
I'm talking about the investment side. Which bioproducts are attracting more investment?
Yes. So when it comes to PLA, for example, we have different products, different markets. You know, for example, we have in Europe, we have the ban of single-use plastic made of fossil-based. So that is one big driver that we see in the market currently. And we know also in the US we are taking steps into that direction. So we see these products like, this single-based plastic as one of the main products that is actually used for PLA.
Okay. Mr. Mohan, if you have to pick one product beyond ethanol out of all these bioproducts, which one is going to perform in coming years and in the next 4 or 5 years?
I represent Lallemand. We are a biotechnology company. So our core focus is on developing yeast, enzymes, and bacteria. One trend, what we see is bio-based acetone made from fermentation. So that's what we have introduced in the US market to make acetone from the same feedstock.
Okay. So what lesson we should get from the ethanol success story, because we are overwhelmed with ethanol. In last 1 decade, we have only talked about the ethanol and ethanol. So there are so many other products are also coming in.
Yeah.
So that same story could be repeated for the other products as well.
Yes, this is basically portfolio diversification. For example, like currently in India, we have surplus capacity. So if we can make a value-added co-product along with ethanol, that's a big revenue generation for the producers. So this can be done by a biotechnology route. No major change in the process, the same fermentation, only change is going to be the downstream where you need to separate out acetone. Yeah.
But the real challenge is feedstock. Mr. Francis Ward, do you think we have the sustainable feedstock model that this industry can survive by this way?
Yeah, thank you so much. I was waiting for this question because we went really upstream. Now we're coming right down, right, about the feedstock. And, you know, over the last day, a lot of speakers have spoken about, and I want to point out particularly to Mr. Deepak Balani, you know,
DG of ISMA.
DG of ISMA. He talked about that, and others, Raus have also said, that the acreage for sugarcane is probably not going to increase, okay, right? With the events like El Nino, climate change, the yield, we're probably going to suffer as well. That means feedstock security is very important. Okay. So the reason I'm here to talk about is I'm from Advanta Seeds, and we are proposing sweet sorghum as a complementary crop to sugarcane, to grow in the ratoon season. No, when you do the first harvest in the ratoon, you put sweet sorghum. So farmer gets additional income, right? The industry gets another feedstock. They can use the capacity for another 30 days or more, okay, right? And the byproducts of that, the output is ethanol, of course, okay, and then all the byproducts that we talk about. We talked about PLA, we talked about, 2G ethanol, you go on to doing syrup for the food industry. Where I want to specifically talk about is what is running at scale, maybe not the scale you talked about, but in Brazil, doing from sugarcane ethanol, they're doing biopolyethylene.
Okay.
And that's about $500 million to going to $1 billion industry. So where we are talking about surplus ethanol at the moment, we need to look at value-added products, right? So secure your feedstock, sugarcane complementary with sweet sorghum, have a continuous flow of feedstock, create ethanol, meet the India energy security, and also build the bioproducts that will give us huge opportunity in the export market and build foreign exchange revenue for the country.
Okay. Do you also think the farmers could also generate some extra income?
Absolutely. So this is what I'm saying. The sugarcane is 1 year crop. So the farmer is waiting for his payment at the end of the year, right? Now when you do the sweet sorghum as a ratoon crop in the sugarcane, he's going to get another payment within 100 days, right? And then the next payment will come from his sugarcane. So the farmer will benefit from the same land without too much inputs, without using too much water and fertilizer. He's going to get additional income from the land with sweet sorghum.
Okay. What are the masses for all the sugar mills, millers who are sitting here in this conference room? Because they are all only working for 4 or 5 months, max to max 5 to 6 months. So how their underutilization could be removed and they can be maximum, they can utilize their potential?
Yes, absolutely. So the land is there. It's the same land, right? So the sugarcane, once they have harvested the first crop, when the ratoon crop, immediately after first harvest, plant sweet sorghum, right? It is high quality hybrids are available with high bricks. Today Advanta is offering sweet sorghum hybrids which are giving between 17 to 18% bricks, right? And with good agronomy, one can look for about 30 to 40 tons per hectare of fresh biomass, which can go into the industry, right, for the producing the ethanol. So this is a great income for the farmer.
Okay. Mr. Stefan Barot, if next year in the same conference room, if we will meet for the discussion, then what would be the new capacity from Balrampur Biojog?
Well, still 80,000 tons. I mean, we have to fill it first, and we start just up right now. But yes, it's our intention to actually build a larger plant to bring the cost down. And we're just scratching at the applications in the end. We need to think in the end for every application, for every product at its design, what is the end of life solution? How are we going to recycle it? How are we going to bring the materials largely back into the circular economy? And there is so much more that can be done. We're now talking from a processing point of view about films, film extrusion, film blowing. We just brought biaxially oriented PLA for the first time to India. We haven't scratched on foaming. We haven't scratched on fibers. There's so much more that can be done and needs to be done in the future.
Okay. Mr. Mohan, what kind of reaction from the industry side? Because you are more into business side, so you must have researched something, you must have some idea about their reactions. So they are ready to adopt this new technology, new products?
Yes, I mean, there is no big major change if you're using these microorganisms. It's the same fermentation process, only change is a separation. So you make the value-added bio-based chemicals in the same fermentation. So yeast does the job of making ethanol and also, example, acetone. So both are made in the same process. The only change is going to be the distillation part. So,
but the cost, what about the cost?
As I said, there won't be a big capex. Only capex investment will be in the distillation part to separate out these value-added chemicals.
Mr. Montecchio, I'm going to talk about India is well competitive market, so it has the potential to become a global export hub?
Yes, I think clearly there is a strong potential. I believe that there is a strong pull from the market from different reasons. Of course, one is environmental, obviously. But also now, due to the geopolitical situation, we see the shift in terms of dynamics, you know. So in general, I can see that I believe that there is a strong potential in the market. There are different drivers in the market. Of course, there are also uncertainties. The cost, of course, is one uncertainty, but you know, there are always challenges that when we talk about new technologies, for example, right? So in general, I remain very optimistic that there is a strong potential. So we need to think in that.
So which product could generate more revenues for all these refineries? It's IBA, PLA, or CBG, DDGS?
Difficult question. Because there are different products with different applications, obviously. Now, PLA, it is a very good candidate, in my opinion. I also see isobutanol coming up soon, and that I'm looking at the process to convert, you know, alcohol to jet. So that is also avenue that I think is worth exploring, but is not fully developed yet. So that, yeah, let's see.
Same question to Mr. Mohan. What do you think? Which product could generate more revenues for the industry?
Definitely PLA is one, which I think can be a key revenue generator.
What's the focus for to remove the single-use plastic from the economy? Or is it possible for India to remove at such a large scale, because we have very less capacity to produce PLA?
I would pass on this to him because they are the one who's already been working on it.
How many decades it will take to remove single-use plastic from the country?
So your question is how to do that, or how many? So I think, I mean, when we look in what circularity means, and I think this is the big problem we now have, is that everybody thinks for his own step in the value chain. And that's not going to work in circularity, because if I optimize my value stream, I move the problem to somewhere else. So when you look at single-use plastics, some of them can be avoided. But the question is, at what inconvenience in the end for the consumer? So you can mandate that there are no more single-use cups. That would mean that everybody has to have his own mug when I go somewhere to get my coffee or whatever. And I have to wash it, which means I need soap, or I have to need water. So in the end, the question is, would that even be more environmentally friendly? So there are questions there which we need to answer as a society, but that's the end of life question. The beginning question is, and that's why PLA is great, it's the question, where does the carbon come from? And if we want to have a bio-based society, we want to be carbon neutral by 2070, for every ton of fossil-based material, whether it is coal, it is gas, or it is oil, we need to put 3 tons of CO2 on the ground. It's that simple. It's that simple. And actually that means we have to map the carbon streams in 2070 to say, how will the carbon stream look in 2070? Because then the society can move in this direction, and that would mean that everything has to be bio-based, almost everything. You will always have some products which is very difficult to do. And I think we also need to see how we can make use of the current chemical assets. Because PLA is a final product, but you could make succinic acid, you can make adipic acid, you can make a lot of the other products, you can make bio-based, and transition them directly into the current chemical processes. Yeah?
Key is the sustainable model. I mean, it's a long-term sustainable model and negative carbon footprint.
You will have to be a good storyteller, so you can. One more thing is, all this auxiliaries business can become the core business in coming years. What do you think?
Absolutely. I think it's a matter of focus. No, it's a matter of attention where you give it. If you say, oh, this is my byproduct and I don't give too much attention, you will also monetize it like that. So giving it a focus. So first, I think we know going step by step in terms of these auxiliary products. Today, already the sugarcane industry is going into compressed biogas with the press mud. But you could also use the bagasse to go to compressed biogas. But bagasse is today burned for energy. But you could get energy from solar or other sources, right? So you could monetize the bagasse in a better way, get better value. You could also get bagasse as lignocellulosic material to create 2G ethanol, which will go for sustainable aviation fuel by A2J, right? So that is immediate benefits that you can capture. The third is what I was telling you about sweet sorghum being in a ratoon crop. This will give the life cycle assessment of this crop to bring it very low, which means you could use this directly for 2G ethanol into SAF. So these are easy, low-hanging fruits for the industry to capture. And these are high value, and this would mean that we could also export. We were talking yesterday that India is a big exporter of jet fuel. Now we could send blended fuel with sustainable aviation fuel when we produce it. To the European market, for example. It's a ready market waiting for us to tap into. And then you built up the other value chain. PLA, I believe, it will take time. It's exciting opportunity, but it will take time to get there. But to build up the whole ecosystem today, we have to start by getting these low-hanging fruits, low capital-intensive projects, and build up on this, right? And use the current capacity that we have, right? The capacity is a challenge today. Too much of ethanol, our E20 is not absorbing all the ethanol the industry can build. So what are the value-added products we can do with the existing infrastructure? Is what is the immediate short-term goal for the country and for the companies?
Which one product you are seeing the more opportunistic side? Because I don't want to ask the same question to Mr. Stefan, because he will definitely choose PLA. Yeah. Do you think other side also like IBA, CBG, DDGS, other products are also, there has a good opportunity?
Absolutely, sir. Again, I talk about CBG because this is where the country is wrapping up the capacity and the volume. Nitin Gadkarji was earlier on the speaking, and he said 920 plants are up and running today. Okay, this is still 10% or of what is required. 5,000 plants is what the government wants to have. So the feedstock to this, all the waste itself is not enough. You need an industrial supply chain. So press mud is already is part of it going. Can also bagasse go? So this is the first scale up one can do. Second, can we have a second line in the same plant to convert that bagasse into 2G ethanol? That can also get you higher value realization, right? I think these are the two very quick value capture. And the third one is what I talked about, is helping the farmer get more income by planting sweet sorghum as a ratoon crop. Farmer gets additional income, and the industry get additional feedstock to do this whole value chain. And because sweet sorghum will have much lower footprint in terms of carbon intensity, you could use that also to build bioproducts and get better value on it.
What do you think about the contract farming and crop traceability? These things can also make a sustainable value.
Absolutely. No, contract farming is a very exciting topic, but it's a very difficult topic because of the whole structure of agriculture that we have in India. Small scale land holding, bringing together farmers and using the land to do mass.
Acceptance level is very low. Acceptance level is very low among the farmers.
Exactly the point. Now we are making some progress through the FPO organization, farmer producing organization, bringing farmers together. So you can put up a scheme there, put up a crop, do mechanization, planting, harvesting, and bringing in efficiencies on the ground.
Okay. Mr. Montecchio, I would like to ask one thing, because you are into sales side. You know the nerves and then expectations of all the buyers, customers, the end users.
Yes.
So what's your message for all the biorefineries who are sitting here?
Yes. What's our message? It's actually this is a good question.
You can pass on whatever feedback you are getting from the customers, because you might be meeting them and taking the feedback.
Yes, I think, I want to say, starting with, I understand that their situation may be a little bit challenging, you know, because the situation, global situation maybe is a little bit unclear. So, you know, there can be challenges, there can be uncertainties, but in any case, you know, we need to, so to answer your question, what is the message? The message is that we know our direction, that where we need to go. Now, today we are talking a lot about ethanol. Obviously, we received a lot of messages on the direction that we are taking here in India. And soon we will also have different type of direction for other products. We are talking about PLA, we are talking about, you know, SAF. So even if there are some uncertainties, we need to understand that the direction is clear where we are going. So that is something that should be our compass on guiding our future investments. And then, of course, from our side, from Alfa Laval in this case, you know, you can count that you have a network of different companies with different skill sets that can, you know, contribute in the scale up of new technologies or developing new processes. So that's how we see it, the dynamics.
What's your feedback? Because you have also might be visiting to many customers and end users, industries. What are the feedback from those clients to all the industry people, biorefineries?
See, ethanol is going to be the main product, key product for now. But definitely,
Beyond ethanol, I'm talking about the beyond ethanol, all these products.
Yeah, but definitely because of the surplus capacity, as I said before, diversification is going to be the key for, and the value-added product, what the industry should bring in is going to be the key for the future. And definitely the biotechnology route is one that can help the industry in diversifying it, especially producing these bio-based sustainable chemicals.
Okay. Do you have any estimates by 2030, what will be the total market size of all these bioproducts?
Like
roughly estimate, any ballpark figure would also work.
I don't have a ballpark number, but definitely in countries like US, where they reached they got 200 ethanol plants. So now they've started diversifying it by making different other byproducts. So, yeah.
And which one product all these refineries should focus more on, because which can generate more revenue? The same question repetitive, but you can guide them.
As I said, we are working on a product that can produce acetone by fermentation route along with ethanol. So same fermentation, no changes, same raw material. It produces both ethanol and acetone. So it's a value addition, it's a diversification for the producers. So it's a great, technology what brings in.
Okay. Mr. Stefan, what are the challenges you might be facing as a PLA producer, and how would you tackle it in the next 3-4 years? How would you navigate through all this?
I think there are several challenges, as already said, from a market point of view. It's the first plant in India, so technically it will take some time until we really adjust, a couple of months until it's running. And then it's a lot about making it more efficient. So we are now at 1.7 kilogram of sugar. We can go down to 1.5, but you only can do that once you actually operate the plant. And then, of course, it's building the whole ecosystem around it, together with brand owners to create a pool for the applications. We have our own composting plant. We are starting our own biogas plant to look at end of life. And then it's going into different molecules in the future to enhance the PLA.
Being a representative of Balrampur Chini Mills, is an associate company of Balrampur Chini Mills. So you have that deep pockets, you can do that kind of investment. But for the new entrants, what are the barriers for the new companies who would like to start the PLA plants, and in those kind of bioproducts plants they are going to build?
Well, I think in the future the hurdles will only increase because the plants will only get bigger in that sense. So the question is, if you want to start a bio-based economy, where can you do it with a relatively modest investment? But it doesn't need to be PLA in the end, so that will be a big market. There are other molecules which can go into the bio-based plastics in the future, or what you said, I mean, if you can have acetone, which is used very widely, I have not studied that, by the way, we need to talk. Then this is another entrance, but you have to start somewhere, and that's a risk always.
Okay. What's your message for all the industry? Because you are in the core area, you are like a root of the entire value chain. Last question to you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'll address what you asked before. What is the value of bioproducts? It's a government of India number. It's a planning number. It's $300 billion. Okay.
Currently also?
No, not currently. It's a planning that the government want to create an ecosystem that we can capture value of $300 billion.
By when?
I didn't pick up that. I was thinking about it. I don't remember the date, but one can quickly find out. It is there in the public domain.
Asking about the date by 4 5 in next 4 5
in a decade, let's say. That's what I would say. So the only thing I want to add as the final message to all my friends and colleagues here from the sugar industry, please consider doing sweet sorghum along with sugar cane in the ratoon crop. We, as the initial low-hanging fruit, we can do about 500 million liters of ethanol coming out of sweet sorghum, right? As an additional income for the farmer and additional feedstock for the ethanol industry from the distillery point of view. Thank you.
On this note, I'm going to thank you to all of you. Thank you so much for taking your time out for us. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today, being on stage and giving us a wonderful session. We'll take the opportunity to felicitate the entire panel. May I please welcome on stage Mr. Atul Chaturvedi to felicitate our esteemed speakers who are very excited right now. Finally, someone took a selfie on the stage. Let's begin by felicitating our moderator, Mr. Vishwa Mohan. Francis Borges. Thank you. Stefan Barot. Rajesh Mohan. Francesco Montecchio. May I request everyone to please come together for a group photograph. Can we have a group photograph, please?